Good Monday morning. I hope you're enjoying these I am statements the way I am. It's just been neat for me personally to dig into these and truly understand their meaning and their beauty, just reminded in a whole new way. This particular one comes about in an interesting way because Jesus is approached and told that his friend Lazarus is dying. And yet Scripture tells us that he waits 2 more days before he goes. There's so much to unpack in that, but I'm going to try to keep my mind focused on just one topic. When he arrives, he's approached first by Lazarus' sister Martha. And she says this to him in John 11. She approaches him and she's hostile, and she said, if you would have been here, my brother would not have died. And he says to her, he said, your brother will rise again. And she said, yes, he'll rise when everyone else rises on the last day. But she wanted him there now in the tangible. She didn't want to suffer this loss at this time. None of us ever want to suffer this kind of loss. And he said, I am the resurrection and the life. So this is saying to me that the fact that Jesus waited is because he's trying to reveal something about himself in a much greater way than would have been revealed had he just come and healed Lazarus. He says, I am the resurrection and life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Isn't that beautiful? And he was raised from the dead so that you and I could know that this world is not our home. That we really are just sojourners and pilgrims traveling through. And because of his resurrection, that means that you and I can experience resurrection in our life. So one day we're going to have a physical resurrection, but our spirits never die. Scripture says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Father. So we will never die. That is the beauty of resurrection. So when he called Lazarus to come forth and Lazarus rose from the dead, he was giving them a picture of who he was. Only he could do that. Only Jesus can resurrect. And so in relationship with Jesus, you and I have the ability to have a resurrected life. That means that we don't ever have to taste death, spiritual death. We can then live forever with our Father in the home that he's preparing for us. But I want to take it a step farther. We can also encounter that resurrection power in our lives today. Scripture tells us that the same power that raised Christ from the dead dwells in you and I when we are in relationship with Jesus Christ. But it is also Jesus that can resurrect dead marriages. It is also Jesus that can resurrect dead hopes and dead dreams. It is also Jesus that can resurrect dead finances and health. I'm not preaching a name it and claim it. I'm preaching that we have the resurrection and the life in Jesus Christ. And we do not have to live lives that are barely existing or trying to saturate or satisfy ourselves with a bread like we talked about in our first I am statement that will never satisfy us. I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. We have the opportunity to know personally the resurrection and the life. And his name is Jesus.